All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody, it's Anchorman here, back another episode of Multiverse Podcast, episode 35, Game of the Year Showdown, and we got a great show lined up with you guys today. We're going to do something a little bit different, something not a lot of other shows do when we start talking Game of the Year, but we feel like we waited long enough games to come out where we can make an accurate decision on what is Game of the Year. But real quick, I want to introduce the panel tonight. First off, parents for the first time on Multiverse Podcast.
What's going on, guys? Thank you. That was a great use of the sound effect. Perfectly timed. What's going on, guys?
Sound effect. That's our live studio audience.
I wasn't aware we were in front of a live audience. Anyway, what's going on, guys? Mike P. the Truth. I'm a relatively new contributor for Tech. I'm writing some opinion pieces on there. Check me out on the site. You can check me out on YouTube, Twitter if you want. And that's about it. That's who I am. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's start talking. So next up on the list for tonight, the master of sound effects, James.
Hello, yes, James_S Wilson. You can come at me on Twitter to talk about Radiohead films and the best film of the year, La La Land. We'll talk about that next week. But yeah, it's good to be back on Multiverse. I've been gone for a couple of weeks, and I'm back where I belong. Let's go. Let's do it. Game of the year, Knack 2.
All right, and my Canadian brother from another mother, Nick.
How's it going, guys? This is Undead3XVI on Twitter and YouTube. You can follow me for all the truth and opinions you need on Twitter.
All right, and also we got Fame Entertainment will be showing up later this evening. It should be great whenever he finally does show up. He's been held back by work a little bit. This time of year, it gets kind of busy out there now. So, Game of the Year. Before I forget, before we even start talking about Game of the Year, do you want to win an Xbox One S? Do you want to win that now? Yes. I think the general public would like one. I've even seen some PC fanboys who said consoles are trash enter to win this award. So I think this is fine. Enough people will be interested in this. If you would like to win an Xbox One S, if you are watching this on YouTube, you can check out the link in the description below or go to ticgn.com, Xbox One S giveaway, and you can check out how to win. Just follow us on Twitter and YouTube and all other sites necessary. Register for the website. There's a ton of different ways to win this award, this little gift reward for all our fans who've been watching us nonstop this year. We should have a great turnout for that. But now we can go back to Game of the Year. So this show is going to be a little bit differently. Is we're going to go through and nominate our own personal Game of the Year picks. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually debate live in front of the audience here which games we think should be in the top 5 games of the year, and then decide which one out of those 5 is Game of the Year material. So we're going to get started. So I want to start with James. James, what were your top 3 games of the year, starting with the runner-ups, and then your definite pick, what has to be your game of the year?
Right. Well, when I come into gaming, I think there are 2 things that make a game for me. It's gameplay, as in the game mechanics and how it works with you and other people, and story. If a game has a really great gameplay but not a great story, it's never going to win Game of the Year. The same for a story with not great gameplay. So for that reason, number 3 for me is Overwatch. An absolutely engrossing multiplayer game, which to this day I'm still playing, and I was actually just playing it 20 minutes ago while waiting for this podcast. It's constantly changing and evolving with the addition of new characters, new players. The 2 free weekends have got loads of different players into it, which is fantastic. People who've never played shooters before are playing Overwatch. It's available for lower ages. It's just a fantastic game overall, and one of the fact that Blizzard have never made a multiplayer shooter before this, and they've made one that's so good so quickly, that's a testament to them and how good the game is itself. Overwatch is number 3. Number 2, this is the story pick for me, is Firewatch. I'm a massive fan of walking simulators. I would put Everybody's Gone to the Rapture in my top 10 games of all time, and I stand by that. Firewatch this year took story games to a different plane, a plane that's covered in lush American landscapes. I believe it's set roughly in Yellowstone National Park. it's just you wandering about this forest, talking to somebody who you never see, about things that you never see happen live, and it's just an air of mystery that engrossed me and thousands of other gamers. And again, made from the people who created the story to BioShock and other games, which I can't bring to mind right now. Firewatch for me is an easy number 2. However, the combination of story and gameplay provided one of my favorite games that I've ever played, and to me, the undoubted best game of the year. Unsurprisingly, my game of the year is Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. I don't think anybody here was surprised. Uncharted 4 took the character of Nathan Drake, a mass-murdering man who has traveled the world, running away from trucks his entire life. I just need to get that joke in because he's constantly running away from trucks. Uncharted 4 took all the characters that we loved and characters we didn't even know we needed to love, like Nadine, a strong, independent woman who don't need no man, who's now getting her own game, which is fantastic. The addition of Troy Baker, because he needs the work, as Sam, Nate's long-lost brother. It just created a new dynamic. The old favorites of Drake himself and Sully coming back. A villain that's actually memorable in Rafe, instead of having just a generic Eastern European villain a la Uncharted 2, or a person who is definitely not Helen Mirren, who should just be called Helen Mirren in Uncharted 3. It's very obvious that Uncharted 4 was living in a post-Last of Us universe with Neil Druckmann heading up the story team instead of Amy Hennig. Hennig, yeah?
Hennig.
Yeah. I was sucked back into Uncharted. I wasn't expecting it to like it as much as I did even. But I think I'll go into Uncharted more once everyone else gets their picks out of the way. But yeah, so for me, Overwatch 3, Firewatch 2, Uncharted 4, number 1.
All right, lots of watches. All right, putting that on the list here. So that's a pretty solid lineup. That's really a really solid one. But we're gonna move on a little bit. So Mike, tell us what your 3 game of the year, starting with your 2 runner-ups and then your number 1.
All right. So when I pick my game of the year each year, it's pretty cut and dry with me. It's the games that I had the most fun playing in that given year. So my top 3, number 3 is going to be Ratchet and Clank for the PS4. You remember when we were all kids and like Toy Story came out and, A Bug's Life, we would talk about, wouldn't it be crazy if they made a game that looked like this, a Pixar game come to life? And that's the first thing that I think of with Ratchet and Clank. It really is like a Pixar movie in video game form. Other than the graphics, which are absolutely stunning, the gameplay is really tight and fluid. It, in my opinion, rivals some of the best platformers that Nintendo puts out. And if you don't know me, if you don't follow me on Twitter, you know I'm a huge Nintendo fanboy. So that's high praise coming from me. So Ratchet and Clank is going to be my number 3 game of the year. My number 2 game of the year is going to be Overwatch for a lot of the same reasons that James talked about. In fact, shameless plug, if you go on TickGN right now, look at the opinion piece. I wrote a very lengthy piece about Overwatch and why I think it's so great. But the way that Blizzard was able to fuse together a first-person shooter with a MOBA, and to be able to do it so fluidly, and you have these expressive characters, and they're balanced characters. Each character has a counter. It's easy to pick up and play, but at the same time, there's a lot of depth to it. And it really was a breath of fresh air that changed how I experienced first-person shooters. And that's high praise because there was a lot of really good first-person shooters in 2016. So my number 2 game of the year is going to be Overwatch. Now, my number 1 game of the year, this is probably going to be something that's a little bit controversial. My number 1 game of the year for 2016 is Forza Horizon 3 is my game of the year. So the reason why I pick Forza Horizon 3, number 1, I'm a car nut, and it's just like car porn to the nth degree for somebody like me. But I love the storyline of Forza. It's not really too in the way of the gameplay, which I like. I just want to be able to race. It's a fantastic, expansive world. One of the best looking games I've ever played on the Xbox One, or in general, in my opinion. And just the sheer amount of things that to do in that game, from creating your own bucket list challenges to doing all the different types of events, like upgrading your festival, etc. It's something that really kept me engaged, and it still keeps me engaged to this day. And it looks like that's going to continue once they come out with the Blizzard Mountain expansion. So 3, Ratchet and Clank. 2, Overwatch. Game of the year for me, Forza Horizon 3.
All right. Again, another solid list right there. I can't dispute any of this. It's great, man. Man. All right. Just 1 second. I do a little promotional stuff out here on Twitter to let everyone know. Multiverse is kicking ass. All right. What you guys? Let's take a short break for a minute. What have you guys been playing lately?
I've been playing. I just got Dead Rising 4. I'm about halfway through the first mission, I think. I did the prologue mission. I'm about halfway through the first mission. It's not a bad game. This is the first Dead Rising game I've played, by the way. It's not a bad game. I think the storyline so far is good. The combat is okay. That's where I'm kind of having a hang-up on it, because the combat seems kind of repetitive. The combat is based just run into a group of zombies, mash X, and then every once in a while hit Y and B at the same time. But I'm going to keep playing it and see how it holds out. Other than that, I've been playing the multiplayer for Modern Warfare Remastered, which is basically crack in digital form. That I've been playing a lot of. I've really been enjoying Modern Warfare Remastered.
Yeah.
I've been firing through more of FIFA because it's just my go-to game when I have a podcast to listen to or music to listen to. It's just put on FIFA in the background, or Overwatch, or I got Mad Max really cheaply in a sale.
Oh, that's a good game.
And I'd never really played Mad Max until a couple months ago, so I'm just, again, podcast in the background, just driving around the deserts of Australia, just messing people up. It's good fun.
Oh yeah, that was one of my contenders for Game of the Year last year. But speaking of Game of the Year, let's get to Nick. What are your Game of the Year contenders, man? I want to know how you're going to do this.
Oh man, this is going to be, people are going to hate me for this list. So my number 3 pick.
Don't say No Man's Sky, please don't.
Do it. You know you want to.
Well, see, this is my whole validity problem with a lot of people. I only pick games I've actually played, so I don't have a PlayStation, so I can't pick No Man's Sky. So my number 3 is actually a game I picked up 2 weeks ago. I was sitting there, me and my wife were sitting there, we're getting a second controller for the Xbox, and we were looking for games to play. And there is not a lot of split-screen games anymore. Halo 5's not split-screen. A lot of people are limiting the split-screen option in their game. So I found this cool little game called Overcooked. It was on sale on the Black Friday sale for, I think it was like $14 for the game plus the DLC. And I was like, oh, this could be a fun little game. I'll, casually play it or whatever. I probably have not been this competitive in a game since Black Ops 2. I'm not even kidding. It's all couch co-op. It should be a relaxing cooking game, but it takes the most relaxing gameplay style and makes it so stressful that I can't even handle it at some points. It's like, okay, so you just need to make an onion soup, but we're going to put you over a boiling thing of lava and you got to swap ingredients between two. Oh, man, I get so frustrated with that game. So that's going to be my number 3 because couch co-op. How many games have that anymore? Is going to be Battlefield 1. I agree with James that games that don't have a story but a good multiplayer and vice versa shouldn't win Game of the Year, but Battlefield 1 has both. It has a phenomenal first-person story, and it has a phenomenal multiplayer experience. I've not been this engrossed in a multiplayer in a long time. I wish there was a little bit more variety in classes. Like, the weapons all seem to kind of play the same, which kind of sucks, and that's why it's not number 1 on my list. But the maps are good. The skill-based matchmaking is exceptional. I've never been put in a game where it's been a complete blowout, usually. And it's a lot of fun. And the single-player game, if anyone's played Battlefield 1, that first mission where you're just trying to hold the front line, and then you mandatorily have to die. And it goes, rest in peace, insert whoever you were playing here. Then you switch to the guy who's 20 yards behind him, and then you repeat that through 8 people. It really gives you a scope on how war actually works instead of the old school Call of Duty. Oh, well, one guy can take out 500 people and he'll still be alive at the end of it. It's a really cool storytelling aspect. Now, for number 1, for my absolute game of the year, this one took a lot of decisions I'm regretting. I made a video about this on my YouTube a long time ago saying I wasn't going to buy this game, but it turned out to be my game of the year is Hitman. The episodic Hitman game is by far my game of the year. I sat down and I went through games I spent the most amount of time on, and I actually spent the most amount of time playing Hitman, which is mind-blowing because in the old games I'd run through it, get all the achievements, and I'd be good. So I'd get like 2 days out of it. I literally have about 11 days into this game. I still don't have all the achievements. I still don't have all the challenges done. It is an insanely in-depth game for what it is. And I thought by releasing it in episodes, it would be a worse quality game, but it turns out they put more thoughts into the levels. There's so many. There's an average of, I think, 99 challenges per level. And to get, like, on the first 4 missions, I've got all the challenges completed, all done, all in a basket. I still got 2 more to go to 100% the game, but I've spent so much time doing the weirdest things. I spent a 2-day weekend at one point doing a specific group of challenges that involved assassinating targets dressed up as a vampire magician and having to try to sneak around a whole mansion dressed up as a magician where everyone could see through your disguise instantly. It was the most frustrating 2 days, but I can honestly say I had so much fun with just the ridiculousness of the whole thing. It was such a great game, and I'm really happy and excited they announced a season 2 for it next year. So yeah, that's my list.
Oh wow, I'm honestly surprised. I'm genuinely surprised about that.
I was expecting somebody to say Hitman, but I wasn't expecting anyone to say it was Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Boom.
I don't know what to do, man. I don't know who that's that. All
this
right.
has made this very interesting.
All right. While we wait for Fame to go, to get here. So, my game of the year, I actually did a whole top 10. I actually did an old school, like actually broke out the piece of paper and made a top 10 list. I got it around here somewhere. Just one second. Yep. We got the old top 10 list here. Actually made it. So just a brief overview. Like there were a lot of games that didn't make the list I thought would be fun. All Fame's here now. Fame here? Or he's muted himself.
Ivan, is that you? Is that your phone?
Nope.
No, it was my phone.
All right. Okay. So yeah, like I went through a couple of games. Like on my list, I had Quantum Break on there. Like 2 games that just missed the list for me though. Overwatch and Gears of War 4 couldn't make it. Battlefield 1 was also on that list. But my top 3, it actually came down to a tie initially between the 3 of them. And I had to break it down to story, gameplay, and music. These are the 3 things I just really enjoy in a game. And like it wasn't just limited to like multiplayer or single player. It was a mixture of everything. But I was trying to like not judge it based on how good the multiplayer is because some games didn't have multiplayer. But my top 3, starting with my bottom, the game that was the weakest to me was Doom. But it had to be mentioned. I had to bring up Doom because Doom. It was funny in regards to how it was announced. It was announced at E3 2015. They showed off gameplay. They played the game, and it looked amazing. And they didn't change from that reveal. It played just the way it looked. They didn't do anything weird with it, and they didn't do any review copies or anything for it. And we just people went out there, had no preconceived notions about the game, and just enjoyed it. and it was a blast. The single player campaign just says, you know what, story, we don't need it. We got kick-ass gameplay. That's all you need. And it brought things back to basics, and I think changed a single player campaign from that point on. The weakest part was probably the multiplayer. It was just kind of like, eh. For me personally, I thought it was better than Halo multiplayer, mostly because you didn't have the stupid overshield stuff that I hate about Halo.
Don't be a hater all your life.
I liked that multiplayer a little bit more than Halo, but it's just the single player campaign was just just above everyone else, and the music was just great. It was nice just to have a nice heavy metal, good soundtrack to killing stuff. It was just simple, and I liked that a lot. The second game on this list that I have is Mafia 3. Mafia 3 was I love that campaign. And the thing is that the campaign is so strong, it makes you power through the rest of the crap you got to go through. Because that gameplay is mediocre as hell. Like it is not a fun time to play through at all points. It's just okay. Like the best points are when you're infiltrating and taking down an area, and that's kind of it. And once you've done that, all the places you need to go, it's over. Then like there's a little it's kind of like Shadow of Mordor, where Shadow of Mordor is like the best parts were when you're infiltrating and working your way up the system, and the weakest parts are pretty much everything else. And Mafia is very fun. It lays a lot of really good groundwork, but doesn't do a lot with it. But the story is so good. It's like crack. It's cocaine. Like you can't do anything about it. It's just so good, and you will power through the worst content just to play and find out what's going to happen next in the sequence. It is so good, and the music was just excellent selection. Really got down with that. But my number one game of the year, it's got to be Titanfall 2, man. Like Titanfall 2 really brought it, and it's so sad to see that it didn't sell so well because the campaign is just great. Each mission feels lovingly crafted. They did all the work they needed to do. They had the big action set pieces without feeling corny. It was just great. You see why the group at Infinity Ward left Call of Duty. They made a game. They made a damn good story, and it has to be recognized. It's so good. And then the multiplayer is just classic, and they actually just released the Angel City DLC, and it's free, which all the DLC is free, by the way, except for some of the cosmetic stuff, which is another topic for another video. But you can play an old map, and it's exactly the same as it was before, and you can see the game's actually faster than the first game. It feels faster, and it's amazing, and it had to go on my number one game of the year picks. So, all right, Fame, it's up to you, man. What are your top 3 game of the year picks? Starting with your 2 runner-ups, not your official game of the year.
So I actually changed it from when I first talked to you about it, Anchor. I thought I had a lot of thinking to do. So my 2 runner-ups, number 1 is Gears of War 4. Absolutely love the game. I know a lot of people didn't like the direction, but I actually really love the direction. I love some of the character development that's beginning to happen. Like I said, I love Kate's character. I love the plot twist at the end of 4, which it gave me the craving for 5. Like, I love a game that when I'm finished with it, I am geeked and excited and ready for the next. Like, I want the next one the next day. I don't want the game to end. And Gears of War 4 gave me that feeling. What can I say? Horde mode is amazing. Fun with friends. Multiplayer is great. The story was absolutely amazing, and I just love Gears of War 4. I wish more people would have given it the praise that it deserved, but Gears of War 4 definitely my runner-up. One of my runner-ups. My second runner-up, which like I said, something I wavered about, and then actually it's not really complete yet. It's Telltale Batman. And the reason I say this, I know. Listen, the reason I say this is because if you guys noticed, I've been playing a lot of Telltale gameplay lately. Wolf Among Us, Tales of the Borderlands, and Telltale Batman, because I think it's because of my bias toward the character. I love how they really put. You're not really Bruce Wayne is important. So you get the best of both worlds with Batman and Bruce Wayne. And I love the storytelling so far. Like, I can't wait for part 5, which I believe releases tomorrow. And I can't wait to really get my hands on it. Like I said, the storytelling is amazing. They give you a deeper story into actual Bruce Wayne. It's not just about Batman going out and beating up people. We get a lot about Bruce Wayne, which I really loved. And I know somebody said, "Wow, if Angry an idiot," but Telltale Batman was my runner-up. And then my game of the year, Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 was amazing. The multiplayer was complete and utter trash, but I love the characters. The characters, from the moment you start the game, you're automatically brought back into the world, and you care about these people. You care about what happened to them. You care about what they have to say next. There wasn't a moment in time in that game where you was like, I don't care. This is boring. What am I doing? Let's do something else. Every moment of the game was absolutely amazing and breathtaking. It was beautiful. The voice acting was perfect. It's just an overall great game. And if anyone who hasn't played Uncharted 4, there's something wrong with them. Great game. Definitely my game of the year, hands down. And it's sort of not even close.
All right.
I'm amazed if anyone was going to agree with me on anything. I wasn't expecting that.
What expecting? Which one?
Because I also picked Uncharted 4 as my game of the year.
Nice. It's an amazing game.
I know,
amazing.
Right?
From top to bottom. It is hard to find a flaw. If you find a flaw in this game, no game is flawless. But when you try to pick what's wrong with this game, it's almost like you're nitpicking, because the game is just that good from the graphics, like to the voice acting. This game makes you care about its characters from the moment you start the game. You cannot beat that in a video game.
I think if I were to find a flaw in it, I would say that sometimes some certain mechanics in the game are a bit overused. The crate that has wheels in puzzles.
It does get used a lot. You're right.
And sliding on gravel, just a bit too much. But not overused, but just a bit too much.
And I just didn't like the multiplayer. I mean, when I think of Uncharted, I don't think of multiplayer anyway. That's why I didn't really factor it in. But overall, great game. But you are right. The crate thing was a little bit overused, but I mean, you're so into the story. It's one of the things where, oh my God, let's stop with the effing crates. It's just an amazing game. Absolutely amazing game. If you have a PlayStation 4 and you haven't played Uncharted 4, then you're missing out on one of the greatest games of this generation, probably the best game of this generation, and one of the greatest games you'll ever play.
All right. So to give you guys, we actually have only 4 of the 5 official nomination spots filled. So you know what that means, folks. We got to fill in with the other ones that got nominated. To give you an idea to also catch fame up, on our list of definites, we have Uncharted 4, Forza Horizon 3, Hitman, the DLC, the DLC edition, or the episodic, Titanfall 2, and we have an open slot now. The remaining nominees. What's that?
I was just thinking, because Michael and I both nominated Overwatch within our top 3, surely that should go on.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Right.
I want to catch everyone up and see what other games got nominated first. Overwatch got 2 votes, the only game that got 2 votes. Firewatch got a nomination, Ratchet & Clank, Overcooked, Battlefield 1, Doom, Mafia 3, Gears 4, and Telltale Batman.
Don't be hating on Telltale Batman. Whoever said, don't be hating.
I'm not hating on Telltale Batman. I have played it, and I do like it. But it is easily not the best Telltale game. That's strike one. That does overuse mechanics, and it doesn't.
I didn't say it was the best
strength.
one. It's the one that came out this year. I didn't say it was the best one. It's the Telltale game. The one Telltale game dropped this year.
Okay, no, that's fair. I'm just saying.
I personally enjoyed Tales from the Borderlands more than Batman, but I'm talking about this year.
That's a fair point.
Yep. All right. So we're all fine with putting Overwatch in that other slot because we got 2 nominations. We're all
Yes,
good with
sir.
that.
I think my thing is I don't think I don't think you all have played Firewatch, and that's a bit annoying to me personally. But there we go.
I've
Is that
played.
the walking simulator?
I was gonna say I played Firewatch, and I want a refund.
Ooh.
See, I feel the same about Inside, and I'm really glad no one here said Inside.
No.
No, I'm 100% with you on Inside as well.
That is the most overrated game I've seen in years. That and Destiny.
All right, so we're getting into the other half of the show tonight. So this portion is going to be interesting. We have our official the 5 games that will now be ranked through ruthless debate and much discussion. And we will start from the bottom of which game is the worst out of these 5 and should be the 5th on the list. So starting off with Overwatch, Titanfall 2, Hitman, the DLC edition, Forza Horizon 3, and Uncharted 4. So
Hitman gotta go.
I gotta say Hitman's gotta go. I'm sorry, Nick.
Did you play it, though?
Hitman is better than Forza.
I have. I played like 2 episodes.
Hitman is better than Forza.
Now I will say in Hitman's defense, it's probably the best setup for an episodic game. You just set it up by missions and contracts, but it's still an episodic game.
And I don't have to eat poop to know it don't taste good.
I didn't play Hitman either, but I have a problem with that. I'm not saying it's bad, but I just have a problem with a game that's in an episodic format. It being Game of the Year. I don't think I could live with myself.
I can only disagree with you. Life is Strange was arguably the best game of last year, and that was episodic.
Facts.
Mm.
We're to the point where we're to the point now. See, I want to make this clear. If Hitman episodically makes it not okay for Game of the Year, so when Final Fantasy VII comes out in episodes next year, I better not hear anybody talking about it.
No, that's a re-release.
You won't, because I think that's crap anyway.
And if anything, the episodic function of Hitman only benefited itself and gamers because the hype for it was continued for the entire year. If it was released all in one block, I don't think it would be easily as loved as it is.
And
except Overwatch.
To point out the following that Hitman game got when the last episode was released, it was the top downloaded content on the Xbox store for 2 weeks.
Boom.
So Call of Duty still sells really well. Your point?
I'm still saying it's you can
Yeah, but the fact that the 5th episode of a game that is not a massive AAA title, it's not a Call of Duty. The fact that it could outsell loads of other things for a 2-week period is very, very impressive. The 5th episode.
And also the fact that what people aren't looking at too is they say it's an episodic game and everything else, and it's a real bummer because you have to buy it in episodes and everything else. You got it at a discounted price if you bought the whole season at the start. It was only $49.99 originally when I bought the full season. It wasn't even a full $79.99 game up here. It was $49 for the pass.
But we're getting away from why Forza should be at the bottom of this list.
See, I can't touch on Forza because I haven't played it. I started playing the first Forza. I'm working my way through the Forza games. And I will say if Forza 3 is half as good as Forza 1 is, then I agree it should be higher up than 5 on the list.
You know, it's funny because we were talking about this on the podcast a couple weeks ago on Tick Podcast. It's like, why is it like a racing game can't be Game of the Year? It's got to be something but a racing game. It's got to, be an action game or an RPG or something like that. Why is a racing game not allowed to be Game of the Year? It's a great game. It's a fun game.
Won't be Game of the Year. It's too niche.
I mean, it's a great game. It's one of the best looking games of this generation. It's fun. The fun factor and the replay value is through the roof. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what games are all about. And Forza, at least for me, that was the most fun I've had this year playing games.
Yeah, I don't know. Since we have 5 people in here, we made this a lot easier. We can do simple votes here for which game is on the bottom of the list. So just a quick show of hands. Out of the 5, out of Overwatch, Titanfall 2, Hitman, Forza Horizon 3, and Uncharted 4, which game do you think deserves to be on the bottom of the list? We'll just go quick round table. Fame, who you got on the bottom?
Hitman.
Hitman? All right.
Forza.
James? Mike?
Hitman.
Titanfall 2. Get that trash out of
Nick?
here.
Oh. Just doing that to spite me now.
Yes.
And I gotta say Hitman's gonna be on the bottom.
Get
Not because it's bad. The DLC episodic thing is the only reason I gotta vote against it.
Same reason as I.
I see how it is.
Yep. All right.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry. I'm the only guy that didn't pick an overly outrageous AAA title.
Perfectly timed.
It was. It really was. Good work over there.
Thank you.
All right. So that leaves us with Overwatch, Titanfall 2, Forza Horizon 3, and Uncharted 4. Which one do you think is the worst out of this group?
Huh?
I would have put. I don't think Titanfall's as good as everyone says it is.
See with Titanfall, I didn't play the story mode in Titanfall, but the multiplayer is amazing in Titanfall. The multiplayer is an absolute blast in that game, and I'm a big fan of multiplayer shooters. It's really, really good.
And I gotta say, man, I mean the multiplayer is a blast. I love it. And the single player is great. Like it's that lovingly crafted Infinity Ward. Like it makes you realize, like, oh wow, this is what made Infinity Ward a class act. This is what made them so good. It makes
I
you
agree.
regret it.
I agree with you. And you wonder how you could tell this was made by original Infinity Ward? Because me going back and playing Modern Warfare Remastered, all the guns are balanced. They feel viable. Look at Titanfall 2. All the weapons are balanced. Every weapon feels like it's viable. Like you could get kills with it. It's really well balanced. Even the Titans too.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna be honest. It's completely personal opinion. I do Titanfall on every level is a solid game. I just don't enjoy it. That's just a very personal thing.
I'm just gonna put my 2 cents on Titanfall 2. I had three friends buy it day one, and 3 friends get all the achievements in and trade it in 2 days later. And honestly, if it was that good of a game, the campaign would not be a 5-hour run through, and there would be more people still playing it online.
But
The online numbers for that
Yeah,
game,
but there's not a lot of people online because it kind of got screwed with its release date, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally released right between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty, which is 2 of the biggest online games of the year.
Madness, utter madness.
Yeah, and after Gears.
Right.
Like that was a really bad time. That was the one ultra egregious thing that happened with them.
If it came out like in February, in coming February, then I reckon it would have done way better.
Agreed. Totally. 100%.
Because look
But
at Doom.
honestly, though, or what? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying because look when Doom came out, it came out with no competition and it blew everyone away.
Yeah.
yeah, but
I'd
the whole
rather have
argument,
Doom in
the
this
whole
top 5 than
argument that
Titanfall.
came out, the whole argument that came out with Call of Duty and Battlefield and everything else. The only game that sold well out of that flock is Battlefield 1. Call of Duty numbers were insanely down this year, and Titanfall's numbers, it wasn't even, did it even break the top 5 of games sold in that month?
No, not in the top 5. No, top 10.
Exactly.
Yes, not top 5.
Yeah, exactly. It was beaten out by other games as well. Like, there's too many games in the time period that it launched.
Yeah.
But I also feel like we will roast games for having short campaigns. We would roast Call of Duty for having a 10-hour campaign, but we'll give critical acclaim to Titanfall for having a 6-hour campaign that makes you feel all cuddly with your your Mac. Which
Yeah.
I get it.
I can't roast a game for length though. If the campaign is excellent, if it's all great, no matter how short it is, I mean, that's fine. But like if a game is just kind of mediocre or lame and the campaign's short, and that's all you have, especially when all you have is the campaign and it's short, that's a problem. And so I mean, for me, and speaking of campaigns, I think Overwatch needs to be number 4 on this list. Like it's a great game. It's really well balanced. It's one of the best designed games that came out this year. But in terms of like content, there really isn't a lot there. I mean, it's the same, like what, 7 maps, 8 maps, and that's it. And that's kind of skimpy on a map side. Like a lot of first person shooters, they launch a 15 plus. They have a lot more maps than that.
Yeah, but they don't have 24 playable characters with
That's
each
true,
different unique,
but
different abilities, and that is the strength of Overwatch. It's its characters, and even though there isn't a story, so to speak, they all have their individual backstories that are readily available to you to just Google or YouTube.
If you ever want a good read, go through the Overwatch wiki. There is so much backstory to that game.
Yeah.
Like,
And
yes,
then
it's not readily
there's-
available in the game.
And then there's the augmented reality game with Sombra that dominated about 4 months. Everyone remember the Sombra trail?
yeah, I know all that lead up. I just think Blizzard gets a lot of extra credit because they're Blizzard, and the other problem I had was like for like 6 months they charged $60 for this game, and the starting price $60 is not worth it to jump in for Overwatch, especially back then. No, 45 sure, but 60 no.
Tell
Like,
that to Battleborn.
Battleborn was like $9.99 the week after it launched.
Oh, dude, pre-owned
Dude,
copies of it in game in the UK are going for $4.99.
Oh my god, that game was DOA.
Yeah.
Totally.
You know what? You know what the best part is? I probably will pick up Titanfall 2 in the next couple of weeks because my GameStop has so many leftover copies from canceled pre-orders that they're blowing them out for $24 a piece right now.
Man, when you get your PS4, bro?
What was that thing?
When you getting your PS4, Undead?
Christmas.
Okay, let me know you get it, man.
Oh, trust me, you'll see it on Twitter. Everyone's gonna be like, "He's got PS4. He's a filthy console peasant." I'm waiting for it.
Console gaming for life.
Right, back to the
Filthy
list.
neutral block.
Right. That's another topic.
Exactly. Felt like
All
I
right,
had to throw that
Dave,
in there.
what you doing? You sitting back here, not saying much. What are your thoughts? What do you think should be on the bottom?
Give me the 4 one more time.
All right, we got Overwatch, Titanfall 2, Forza Horizon 3, and Uncharted 4.
Let's part of me wants to say Overwatch, other part of me want to say Forza.
It's between Forza and Titanfall for me for 4th.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go Forza.
You're gonna say
No!
Forza.
No. Yeah, so Forza can go. Fuck out of here.
Forza's on the bottom for you. So I guess this vote's between Forza
Don't be
and
ticking me,
Overwatch.
then. Huh?
All right, so it's Forza and Overwatch. We'll do the vote now. Those in favor of Forza getting the boot, which speak up.
Yep.
Yes, Forza for 4th.
All right. Those in favor of Overwatch getting the boot. Yep.
I would say Overwatch for 4th.
All right, Fame.
Bye, Forza.
You're on Forza. All right. Sorry. By a majority, man. Forza's number 4 now. That's funny. All right.
That was funny.
Well, I was gonna say we're gonna get nailed for being a biased podcast now. We're making an Xbox exclusive number 4. This is clearly a PlayStation podcast now because Uncharted's still on the list.
Uncharted shouldn't even been top 5.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's hear it. Why
All right,
should
so we're
Uncharted be in the
between
top
Recore.
5?
for Titanfall 2 and Overwatch. I gotta say, man, Overwatch is gotta be on this one, man. Like, it's good, but it's not this good. Like, it's a good platform game, but it can't go beyond number 3. I can't let that happen.
I disagree.
I
I
will.
disagree.
I will.
I believe it is better than
literally
Titanfall.
I will literally shoot myself in the mouth live on Twitter before I see Titanfall 2 in the top 2 of games of the year. That just makes me sad.
I'm with you there, Nick, but without the gun.
Man.
My number 3 is going to be Uncharted 4. I didn't play Uncharted 4, but I played the first one as part of Nathan Drake collection. I got up to chapter 9. I thought it was trash, so Uncharted 4, number 3.
That's
See, if I'm following that logic, I played the first 2 Uncharted games on PS3 because, little known fact, before I played on 360, I was actually a big PlayStation guy. And even though I was a huge PlayStation guy, I hated Uncharted so much. It was so boring to me. But I can't really pass judgment on Uncharted 4 because I haven't played it. And from what I've heard, it's the best game in the series. So I can't really judge it on past games. So I'm a little...
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I can't really give it that high of a praise without having played it either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm on board with you right there. We'll stick that guy right at number 3 then.
Yeah.
Whoa. Well, you're going to have 2 people who are going to violently disagree with you on this.
That means Ivan's going to be the swing vote.
This is...
I want to see what Fame's got to say. I got to see what Fame's got to say first.
Uncharted is not going to lose this, so you can pick either other game. Titanfall can go.
Here's the difference. All right, here's the thing. In Uncharted, in Titanfall, can you feed an apple to an iguana
hey,
and then get a trophy for it?
You can feed some bullets and some ass, but that's about it.
Can you get a dog to follow you around, give it a cookie, and then, because the dog is cute, give it another cookie? Can you climb up loads of towers? Can you climb up loads of towers? Can you run away from trucks in Titanfall? I don't think you can.
Yeah, you can run away from mechs that are walking trucks.
Wait, what? What's the other one left besides Titanfall?
Overwatch.
Oh, I take it back. Buy Overwatch. Keep Titanfall. Overwatch can get the fuck out of here. Bye.
It's a tough one. So it's between Uncharted and Overwatch.
And Titanfall.
I look at it from this perspective. If it's... Because I'm not voting against Titanfall for this one. Because you're the only one saying it right now.
I think you'll find I'm not, Nick.
Overwatch... Like I said, Overwatch does one thing very, very well. It's well crafted, very well designed. My problem with it is it doesn't really go beyond that just yet, but they do events and DLCs free. Yeah.
Here's the thing about Overwatch. If they made a single-player campaign of every single character, made it 4 hours long, they would easily be in consideration for being a really good game. Maybe not game of the year, but being a really good game. Those characters are so well crafted, you could make entire games about them. But instead of doing that, they made a super game. This is the Marvel Avengers of video games.
A Marvel Avengers of video games.
It was the best comparison I could come
Literally, I feel how Overwatch was conceived by Blizzard is EA and Activision were like, we make the best shooters of all time. We make the only FPS games you want to play. And Blizzard was like, all right, hold my beer.
We'll see about that, yeah.
So, like I said, my choice right now is I can join Fame on the Overwatch hate, or I could join Nick and Mike on the Uncharted hate. as I haven't played Uncharted, it's not really fair for the budget necessarily. But the one thing I do ascertain from it though is that the campaign is excellent. It is stunning, but the multiplayer is just kind of meh. Like I don't see anybody playing it. I don't see any sort of gameplay going on anymore. I don't hear anything about like tournaments or anything like that. Like I know they're doing a few little DLC things, but apparently it was pretty ho hum. From what I understand, I don't really go out looking for it, but this is from what I gather. Like I don't hear anyone praising its multiplayer. So it boils down to a company doing a game doing one thing extremely well at only that one thing, or a company dabbling in two things and doing one extremely well and doing okay on the other.
The Uncharted multiplayer is not bad. It is not bad.
It's bad. No.
But then again, when has Naughty Dog made a multiplayer that's been really good? This is not their strength.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that one of the high points of Uncharted 2 was the multiplayer?
It was.
Because I didn't play it a lot, but I remember when Uncharted 4 came out, I had a specific group of friends that were very excited because they thought the multiplayer looked like Uncharted 2's multiplayer. I don't know if it ever turned out to be or what, but I feel like if I give the boot to Uncharted 4, but I keep Titanfall 2 in, I feel I'm doing a huge crime because I feel Uncharted 4's story makes up for Titanfall's multiplayer and single player just in itself.
Yeah.
I can't in good conscience boot a game I haven't played that's as critically acclaimed and so many people love it. Like we've got Fame, who is one of the biggest Xbox guys I know, saying Uncharted 4 is his game of the year. So clearly the game is good. That's my biggest problem with it.
Yeah, buddy.
I'll vote for Overwatch. I'm joining the Overwatch coalition on this one. So I'm with Fame on booting Overwatch. Like it does one thing really well, and then the free DLC is great, but I can't.
So James, Mike, we're gonna collectively boot Titanfall 2 to the curb, right? All three of us? Yes, maybe.
I'm voting Titanfall 2.
Okay, me too.
Uncharted 4 could go.
Versus Overwatch.
I'll be
it's a
alone.
two-way tie.
Uncharted 4 could go. I'm alone. I know.
All right, Mike, you gotta choose between the two, though. You gotta choose it. You gotta choose Titanfall 2 or Overwatch. One's gotta go.
Titanfall 2 could go.
No!
Yes.
Titanfall 2 could go.
You bastards.
I love Titanfall 2, but if I had to choose.
You
All
played
right.
this wrong, Anchor. You're asking a man who put Overwatch in his top 3.
It's true.
Actually, can I just point out that we've just basically done, through all this work, we've done almost an hour podcast to get down to the same breakdown they had at the Video Game Awards.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
That's pretty funny.
Overwatch versus Uncharted 4.
Will Uncharted 4 hold that L twice?
Oh, God. I gotta say, I can't give Game of the Year to a game I haven't played. I cannot do it. Like I literally can't sit here and based on what everyone else has said, give that thing to game. I cannot do it. So I gotta say, voting to win, Overwatch.
I also vote Overwatch.
I'm staying on my original vote, Uncharted 4.
All right, Fame.
Uncharted 4.
All right, Nick. You're the swing.
Oh man, I can already. I'm just watching my Twitter.
James, where's that drum roll sound effect, bruh?
It's not that
Will
long.
you redeem the?
There we go.
The PlayStation fanboys from the egregious indignity that was done to them at the Game of the Year award. Oh, well, Overwatch.
Nah, I'm sorry. I like Anchor. I haven't played it, so it's gotta go to Overwatch.
Ah!
They played a game.
Overwatch. 2 L's.
They literally,
We literally did
literally, Blizzard literally created a game where I've seen people at rank 400, 500. There's guys that have like 40, 50 days into this game, and there's absolutely no mandatory depth to it. There's as much depth as you want to read into it, but if you just want to play it as a class-based shooter like Team Fortress 2, people are doing that. They don't care about the backstory, and this game sold obscenely well. The online base for it is insane. Like, it never takes me more than 5 seconds to find a match, and that's with a full party. You can't deny it. I'm unfortunate that multiplayer beat a story-based game, but oh well.
I mean, it ultimately, I think it came down to, do you do what you really do? Would you do what you do well, extremely well? Like, Overwatch came, they conquered the multiplayer scene, and they kept it. And the fan base still plays it.
And one of the biggest swings for me, too, with Overwatch over Uncharted 4 was the fact that Overwatch is a new IP with new everything. Everything was done new. It broke the water. There's nothing ice-breaking about Uncharted 4. It's the 4th game in the series. All that hype for that game was already preset by the fact it's a Naughty Dog game and it's a sequel to a really good Naughty Dog game. Blizzard literally came into the FPS genre and was like, whoop, here's a game. Give it a go. And it was one of the most downloaded games of 2016.
I agree. For a totally new game to have such an impact and to be such a success so quickly, I think that needs to be recognized for sure.
Yeah. Again, if it came down to Titanfall 2 or Overwatch, I give it to Titanfall, but Overwatch,
But it didn't.
man, it does what it does. It does what it does extremely well, and the level of the power of the game design is just excellent. You can't say anything bad about it. Like, and it's great.
With the thing with Overwatch 2, I was just looking up the numbers on it, and in October. So when did Overwatch come out? I didn't buy it day one. When did Overwatch come out?
March.
March.
I think it was March, I think.
March?
It was early,
Came out in March. In October 12th, Overwatch had over 20 million unique logins across 3 platforms. Even if you divide that in half, that's what? Almost 7 million across each platform? Now, mind you, it's got bigger PC following than anything, but 20 million unique logins. They beat out Call of Duty in October for the most unique logins. And that's across all Call of Duty games.
That's amazing.
So, Anchor, what is our definitive 5?
All right. The official list for the top 5 games of Multiverse Podcast 2016 in the Great Showdown of 2016.
AKA the Game Awards 2.0.
Yeah, the game. Number 5 was Hitman, the episodic series. Number 4, Forza Horizon 3. Number 3, Titanfall 2. Number 2, Uncharted 4.
This is a biased podcast. I'm out of here. Uncharted.
And number 1, Overwatch. All
I've
right.
only got 12 sound effects. I'm sorry. All right.
We shoot on the top 15. Run out of stuff. But all right. That was actually a lot of fun.
I'm actually quite stunned that a game that 2 of 5 said was the best ended up being number 2.
A lot of things are number 2.
And actually, the best part is Overwatch was picked by 2 people, but was number 3, I think, on both. So,
yeah, Overwatch wasn't even anyone's top game.
No,
got it.
No, for me it was 2, and I think James had it 3.
Yeah, I had it 3. I had Firewatch above
No, I
it.
meant like it wasn't like their top game.
Right.
Though. It had to be added later. But yeah,
Right.
man, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
That was good
I
fun.
enjoyed it too. Thank you guys for having me.
I think we should end on this question. What does everybody think next year's Game of the Year is going to be?
Oh, easy.
But
There's
please,
not-
please,
if you say
do not
scale bound, I'm going to slap you.
know what happened to Recoil.
Listen. This is easy. Okay, it's not even close. 2017 Game of the Year, and I don't care what you guys say, because if you go against me, you're wrong, and your opinion doesn't matter, and go die in the ditch. Next year's Game of the Year would be South Park, The Fractured Butthole, and it's not even close.
Preach it.
God. Oh man, next year.
Wait, just quick question: does Final Fantasy 15 fall into next year now?
No,
Then
Final
as well,
Fantasy came out this year. It's out.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
point. It was included for this year for us. That's why we waited.
Whoops.
I
Do it
haven't
over
play-
again.
I
We gotta
haven't.
go to second hour.
I haven't played enough of it to put it in, and I'm annoyed I haven't played Dishonored 2 because I would have liked to have put it here.
Yeah, there's another game that didn't sell very well, but apparently was very critically well received.
Oh, Dishonored 2, definitely.
That's the funny thing is that there's so many games that came out in that period. There's no way all those games were going to sell well,
Yeah, it's impossible.
unless they start bundling them.
That's one of the things too. If you're Microsoft or Sony and you decide to release your exclusives in the fall, the holiday season, it's suicide.
Don't.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Only way you can pull it
Unless
off
it's The
is
Last of
the
Us
end
2.
of the year, or the end of the very very end of the year, like December, or like August.
Yep.
Oh, did anybody play The Last Guardian?
Nope.
Apparently, no one else did either because Dead Rising 4 beat it in sales already. That's weird.
Yeah,
Did
but
not
Dead
expect
Rising
that.
isn't Dead Rising on multiple consoles?
No,
Oh.
this is based just on physical sales.
Oh, that's what's like. I don't want to touch on it too much, but I found it was kind of funny because I had all these guys that, like, for the past like 5 years, like my old roommate, he was like, "Oh, Last Guardian's finally coming out. I can finally play it," and he got it the day of release. I messaged him like 2 days later. I'm like, "So how's Last Guardian?" And all I got a text message back was, "Eh."
Yeah, that's what I hear from a lot of people.
I've heard that too. Mostly the AI.
I was gonna say I've heard that the game plays like it's a 10-year-old game. So, yeah, what can you do? Delays don't always make a game better.
Talking about next year, I think
Burn.
it would be foolish to discount Zelda for a potential Game of the Year next year.
Not from that trailer in like 20 FPS and 60.
I'm not saying it's going to win, but I'm saying don't count it out just yet.
Actually, question: when was the last time Nintendo won a Game of the Year for anything?
Good
Not
question.
a lot recently.
I was gonna say last Game of the Year edition Nintendo game I bought was on GameCube.
Was it like
So,
Super Mario Galaxy or something?
I think it was.
Probably.
You're right. I think it was Mario Galaxy 2. I think it was either 1 or 2. It was one of those.
pretty sure it was Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii.
Yeah,
Wow.
Which is perfect.
it really is.
It is.
Yeah,
It's a
it
perfect
really
game.
is. I don't even like Mario games, and that game was good.
I mean, if somebody's going to game design school and they think, what's your case study on how to make a good platformer? It's Mario Galaxy, hands down.
Yeah, man, that was a great game. But anyway, guys, we gotta wrap it up here. We're running a little long.
Resident Evil. Sorry, I was trying to build up to say Resident Evil is probably going to be my Game of the Year next year. It's coming out in just over a month.
My
Very
game,
exciting.
my game of the year. I have high hopes for Horizon. I'm going in cautiously because it's Guerrilla, and the Killzone games are trash. So I'm going in into it cautiously. But
Michael.
I have high hopes for Horizon.
Michael, I got a story to tell you off air
All
about
right.
why Horizon's gonna suck.
Crush
It's
my
my
hopes and
favorite-
dreams
it's my
right before we
favorite-
get off the air. I
It's my,
see how it
it's
is.
my favorite story to tell, but I can't tell it on the air because I'll lose my job.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap things up here. We'll see you guys a little bit later. It was a good. Thanks for everybody for showing up on the podcast. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, James. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for having
Absolute
me,
pleasure.
guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
All right,
Anytime.
guys, we will split. We will see you guys next time on the Multiverse podcast, the greatest show on Mondays. We will see you guys later.
And what are we doing next week, man?
We will be discussing that later. Woo!
Top secret.
It's top secret this time.